Jacobson from Rivals.
Coach, it looked like UCLA went in with the game plan to stop the run. They, stacked the box. They did run blitzes. Oregon State runs a lot of those same packages. What do you have to do to establish a run when the defense is going in there to try to take it away from you?
Yeah, I thought first off, you got to tip your cap, to UCLA, and they had a nice game plan, as you mentioned, whether it's line movements or pressures in their scheme, and they're very talented up front. They have some very good players at the first and second level. So like anything, it's numbers, angles, and grass in a run game. Where can we put our kids in position to be successful based on the play call and the scheme? Got to play with a tremendous amount of physicality and finish. And, the quarterback's got to do a great job making the correct reads and getting the ball to where it needs to go. So I think all those things will be, of primary importance moving forward.
Eric Scopel, 247 Sports.
Joe, Hunter Catmore sure was impressive in that second half, specifically in the passing game. I guess just impressions from him there, and how does he change that group for you guys?
Yeah, a great veteran presence, very mature young man, cares a lot about the team, physical in the run game, and I think he had 5 for 70. To see the production that we're getting out of our, tight ends thus far this season, but both, they need to block like linemen in the run game and play like receivers in the pass game. So it was good for him to get back on the field and have a significant contribution to the win.
James Crapia, the Oregonian.
So following up to the earlier question about UCLA trying to take away the run, obviously it makes things really difficult for you on third down. How much does Tyler's ability, we talked a little bit about comparing guys to guys in your past. You didn't have that kind of third down issue and win since Penn State in 2016, and Trace was a sophomore too. In games against Michigan and Ohio State where you face similar situations. What kind of presence is it that you're getting from Tyler that if they're going to take away the run, that you're able to turn to a quarterback and he's able to achieve and move the ball for you?
Yeah, I think the first part of it is, and we've discussed this before, that the balance of our offensive attack, you almost want to make it a choose your poison mindset, that if teams are going to stack the box and stunt and move and blitz and really make it difficult to do some of those things, that that you're going to throw the ball over their head. And they did a bunch of things to make it difficult for us to run the ball, but a lot of times we were able to pick it up. And if teams are going to do it by numbers, by support, or by pressure, you're going to try to find the one-on-one matchups and exploit those. So that's the first thing. Number one, we need to be able to run the ball successfully, regardless of kind of what the looks are, and we'll find ways to continue to do that moving forward. But the other part of it is if it's going to open up another part of your offense, and we were able to exploit that. I think we were 3 of 11. We were 2 drops away from being 5 and 11. So he got to do a great job on third down. Working the protections to make sure that things are picked up and going through his progressions. And when things aren't there, with as much man-free coverage that you see on those down and distances, tucking the ball and running.
Matt Preem, 247 Sports.
Challenges of this Oregon State defense. What have you seen watching film? What stands out to you?
Yeah, they're a very, very talented group. They play with a tremendous amount of, effort and physicality, very, very multiple in their scheme. The number 9 kid, he's a game wrecker. He's a special player. I think they got a really talented group of linebackers as well. And then on the back end, they have a lot of length. So I would say the multiplicity of their scheme, how hard they play, and then obviously a rivalry game. All those things are kind of cranked up a notch or two.
Jerry Thompson, Ducks Illustrated.
Yeah, Coach, man, we're halfway through the season. It hasn't got in yet. What situation at this point do you see him getting in? I mean, other than if Tyler's not performing well or injury, or which hopefully won't happen, do you ever see the value of putting a guy in when the game's still on the line, give the other quarterback a break, get him experience?
Did you ask about Anthony? I couldn't hear
yes, Anthony.
The question. Yeah,
or any backup quarterback in how you coach.
Yeah, we're really fortunate, not just with Tyler and AB, but the whole group, but to have the luxury of, players of their caliber, where you essentially have 2 guys that are capable of starting the game and playing at a very high level. And Anthony's been very mature in his approach. He understands that he's 1 play away. At different places I've been, we've run some 2 QB packages, having guys in at the same time. and doing some unique things there. But as of right now, Tyler's a starter with going with him. We've kind of had some of those discussions of things you mentioned, relative to a series, maybe in the first half or the second half. But, with Tyler being a first-time starter, and needing all the reps that he can get, that's what we've decided moving forward.
AJ Jacobson, rivals.
Coach Cristobal kind of mentioned Devin Williams. Everyone on the team knew he had been coming on the last couple of weeks the way he'd been practicing, and then he had that performance, obviously, against UCLA. What did you see from him leading up to that UCLA game and then for the game?
I think a tremendous amount of urgency in his preparation and his practice habits. Every rep was full speed, whether it was individual, group, or team. And you play like you practice. So I thought there was a great amount of carryover, and it's a good lesson, when you reinforce that point all the time, as Coach Cristobal does, that his practice habits leading up to that game were rewarded with his performance individually and with us as an offense as well.
Eric Scopel.
Joe, you've obviously coached in some rivalries before. What do
one or two.
What have you learned from those experiences? You mentioned things kind of get ratcheted up a little bit. How is a rivalry week a little different in terms of just the game day experience?
Where do I start? No, the things that I've found that are ingredients for a great rivalry are proximity, familiarity between the kids and the coaches, and then passionate fan bases. And obviously this rivalry, has all those things. And, there's just something a little bit different about these games. You know what I mean? We're still in our want-to-know process, doing the things that are necessary from a cultural and preparation standpoint to win the game. But there is just that added element of, kind of quote-unquote rivalry week. And I think I'm learning as much about this from our kids is kind of the information I'm trying to provide from other rivalry games I've been in.
James.
Joe, you talked about how much more the offense, like how much you're scratching the surface and adding to it. How much does it change even compared to 2 weeks ago, where now that Devin has progressed and emerged and he's at the true X and Johnny's versatility moves him to the Z and Hunter comes back and you're doing more 12 personnel? These are just things that you weren't doing even 2 weeks ago, let alone what might be 2 weeks from now. So just how much more along are you able to be now compared to literally just even 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's all hindsight, but, losing those last 11 spring practices and kind of everything leading up to fall camp with the uncertainty of the season certainly hindered some of our development and ability to put in a little more schematically and personnel-wise than we probably would want to. But we've got such smart kids here and a great group of coaches who understand and can provide the information and the kids can digest it. I think as every week goes on, we can maybe add another wrinkle or another personnel grouping or another formation, and hopefully if we're, once, we're going to be able to continue to do that as the season progresses.
Matt.
CJ obviously wasn't as efficient last week as he was his first two, and everyone's going to have a bad game. But what can you do to get him back on track and get him back to where he was week 1, week 2 levels?
Yeah, I mean, and that happens. I mean, you go back to, places I've been at other, there's games when people are going to sell out to stop a guy like Saquon or a guy like CJ. And then that's why it's a team effort, someone else has got to pick up the slack. And we were able to do that in the past game. And Travis had some things, that we were able to get him isolated. So it's like I said before, we're going to have to play with great physicality. We're going to have to do a great job with our numbers and angles in the run game and finding spots to take advantage of our scheme, and the quarterback's going to have to do a great job getting the ball to the playmakers.
AJ.
Coach, I was just wondering, kind of in the grand scheme of things, what are the points of emphasis heading into this game for your offense on Friday?
It'll be the same thing that we talk about normally, that we want to win the explosive play battle and win the turnover battle, which we did. I think we were 20% explosive plays again. We turned it over once and it was costly, but as a team, we won. We were +3 in the turnover battle. 75% red zone touchdowns, which we hit, and then we weren't to our standard on third down, and we didn't outrush the opponent. So those are the things that we look at every week as barometers for success, and usually pretty good indicators of how we play and how it pertains to a win.
James.
So kind of a bigger picture question on just the process of development of quarterbacks in particular, when we're talking about things like RPOs and zone reads and stuff, when the defense obviously knows what the keys are too, and then they're going to counter and try to basically trick a quarterback into taking a short pass or whatever, forcing a key into something they want to give up. At what stage in development do you try to get the counter to the counter in? We're talking about a quarterback in his third start, so I'm not overloading him and presenting too much, but just philosophically, how do you get to all right, if the defense is going to force you to do that, then we can rebut with this, and it's just a constant counterpunch.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, Tyler's, for a guy that started 3 games and, thrown for over 300 twice, run for over 80 twice, and I believe leads the conference maybe in pass efficiency and touchdowns. That's very positive, but he'll be the first one to say that there is so much room to grow, for him individually and us as an offense. And I'm excited that he embraces that aspect of it. But it's part of the chess match that I love, you know what I mean? And that I think we're able to manipulate who we read on a given play, whether it's someone at the first or second or third level. And that's the great part of the option part of it is they don't know whether you're going to hand it off or throw it. So I think you need to continue providing different presentations of who you're reading and why, you know what I mean? And then what the route is with the RPO and all those different things. So there are certain parts of, hey, we could call this defense to take away this certain RPO and make them do this. But I hope we're diverse enough with what we're doing that they can't really hone into who we're reading on a play based on formation.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. Stay safe out there.
You too.
Thank you.